for the EOG Wrap. End of game.
It is great to be in Tuscaloosa on another big game eve. We are here for the Athletes First Tailgate Tour at 2 Dimes on the legendary Strip in Tuscaloosa. Tomorrow night, this place, this city, will be electric. Bama and LSU, Saturday at 6:30 on ABC. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of the EOG Wrap Live from 2 Dimes. Jeff Spiegel here along with Johnny Condon. Jamie Hale will join us later. Johnny, this used to be the kind of game that presidents would come to. LSU's disappointing season's taking a little bit of a shine off this, but anytime the Tide and Bayou Bengals get together, there's a buzz.
Yeah, Jeff, Alabama's done their job to this point, undefeated in SEC play. LSU cannot say the same. They had a quarterback that many thought would go 1 in the NFL draft next year. He's been a disappointment, and there's just a toxicity right now to that LSU program. But you know, if they can win tomorrow night inside Bryant-Denny Stadium, all those frowns will turn upside down the bay.
So on the way, here's what we've got. Alabama, do they have to run the football to win a national title? Tim Keenan's impact on this team. The voice of the Crimson Tide, Chris Stewart, will join us. The coaching upheaval at LSU and Auburn. And we pick the winners of the big games tomorrow. Now, the Tide has won 7 games in a row. Ty Simpson is the Heisman favorite. LSU, as Johnny mentioned, frankly in kind of a mess. Looks like an easy win for Bama. They're an 11.5-point favorite.
Yeah, not so fast, Jeff, because LSU has an interim head coach in Frank Wilson. And new man calling the plays in Alex Atkins, and they've had a bye week, so expect the unexpected. What does LSU have to lose?
Still the same players, it's still the same team, so their roster ain't changed for the most part besides the people who calling the plays. So we got to make sure we bring our A game. Just because the coaching change and all that stuff is different don't mean they're going to play different. Them guys are athletic. That's a good group of guys.
I would just say there's a big point of emphasis on playing physical and running the ball. You know, everything starts at the line of scrimmage and the run game. You know, if we can run the ball, it opens everything else up.
Everybody has an identity, and everybody really shapes that identity around what their players are doing well in that given point in the season. But, you know, most certainly you have to anticipate and expect for there to be some wrinkles. And, you know, some of them will try to anticipate and work. Others will see what shows up on Saturday and will adjust.
I think we understand the challenges that are before us. I think our football team is eager to play in this game on Saturday against Alabama. We know what we're up against.
Johnny, if anybody needed a bye week, it was Garrett Nussmeier. I mean, he has just been beat up. How do you expect the Tigers to come out tomorrow under the direction of an interim head coach and a new play caller?
And a new play caller who was a former offensive line coach, so I expect them to run the football. This is an LSU team who has mirrored imaged Alabama in a lot of ways with the exception that they have not got the quarterback play. So why try to force it into a really good Alabama secondary? I expect LSU to try to run the ball and shorten the football game because that's usually at the base of the anatomy of an upset.
Well, the Tide escaped Columbia. Do you expect any more stressful moments for the rest of the regular season?
Oh, absolutely. This is the SEC. This is college football post Nick Saban. Again, you can go back to look at all the one-score games Kalen DeBoer's had throughout his career. I think he's 20-7 in one-score games. He's won more than he's lost, but he plays in a lot of them, Jeff. And going back to his time at Washington, if you turn on that Pac-12 After Dark back in the day, you would always see those Huskies playing a late close game. And again, I don't think Alabama fans have the right or should take their foot off the gas pedal the rest of the way. It could be a really tight one tomorrow inside Bryant-Denny, despite everything we've said.
Yeah, don't get too comfortable. During the bye week, there's always a certain amount of self-scouting. Jamie Hale joins us now, and she's not too far away from us here at 2 Dimes. And, Jamie, there aren't too many things to gripe about with a 7-1 team, but there's one complaint from fans that rise above all other ones.
Yeah, Jeff, Alabama is currently ranked 14th in rushing offense in the SEC, averaging just under 119 yards per game. Now, no one is panicking yet, but you could sense an urgency from Tide offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb during Monday's media availability.
I think it's each room. There's a message that has to happen, just about, getting excited about running the football. I think there's a piece there, too, for the coaching staff that, it can't be the woe is me, dog cussing them every time something doesn't work. It's got to be like, let's get excited about running the friggin' ball. Let's get excited about fixing some of the issues that we clearly are seeing on film, and let's go out there and flex on some people a little bit.
And one guy who could be flexing a little more on Saturday is quarterback Ty Simpson. May see more design runs to play up to his skill set. And in typical Ty fashion, he is ready for a challenge and ready to run whatever plays are called.
Yeah, he's always ready, Jamie, that's for sure. Look, if you believe that to win the national title, you do have to run the freaking ball. Take a look at the top 4 in the CFP. Number 1, Ohio State, 153 yards per game, 74th in the country. Number 2, Indiana, 6th in the nation in rushing, 246 a game. Number 3, Texas A&M, 200 yards per game, ranked 23rd. And there's number 4, Alabama, 118 a game, 114th in the nation. Now, Johnny, all 4 of these teams have something in common. They're getting very good quarterback play, but with a lack of a running game, come back to bite Bama at some point.
I'll throw a caveat at you. You have to be able to run the football, but not in the way people traditionally think. You don't need 100-yard rushers. You don't need to control the clock. You need to be able to run the football situationally. 3rd and short, 4th and short, on the goal line. We've seen at Auburn how that's really come back to bite them this year. So, again, the days of having the Derrick Henrys of the world or the Sean Alexanders where they're going to rush for triple digits, I don't think that's as necessary in this modern-day college football. But on a 3rd and 1, when you have to have it to kill the clock, you better pick up that yard.
Well, Derrick Henry, Trent Richardson, Mark Ingram, I mean, they're not walking through that door. They're out of eligibility, I think. But is it a simple case of you just got to have a dog back there and Alabama doesn't have one?
Well, they do have one. He's in Ann Arbor right now, Jeff, and Justice Hayes. He's playing for the Michigan Wolverines. Again, Jam Miller, a really good back that's going to play on Sundays. Reminds me a lot of Brian Robinson. Wasn't dynamic at the collegiate level, but in the NFL has a role. Can catch the ball out of the backfield. But after that, Daniel Hill has not been exactly what Alabama fans would hope for. So, no, again, when you have receivers like the Tide do, why not air it out? You got Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard and Rico Scott and Brooks. I mean, let's throw the football here. There's a reason that those top 4 teams don't run the ball as well as some of the other ones because they have dynamic signal callers and they can air the ball out vertically.
Well, when you talk about Alabama and LSU, you have to go back to week 1 and how the fortunes of these 2 teams look very different than the way they look now. LSU in the Battle of Death Valleys beat Clemson 17-10 at Clemson. LSU went from 9th to 3rd in the AP poll. Dabo Swinney downplayed the loss. Brian Kelly was offended that Dabo did downplay the loss.
It was a hell of a game. It was a hell of a game. Down to the last play. Right out of the gate. It's like getting the final exam day 1 of class. They made a 65, we made a 58. Neither one of us were great.
We dominated him in the second half. So he's either a really good grader for, giving himself a 58, or he's a really hard grader on us, or he didn't see the second half, which that might be the case. He might not have wanted to see the second half.
Meanwhile, Bama lost 31-17 at Florida State, fell 13 spots to 21st, and the Tide fans went into meltdown mode, Jeff. A calm Kalen DeBoer, in fact, too calm by many Bama fan standards at the time, called it what it was and said, well, he's going to get it fixed.
We understand the situation we've put ourselves in and that we're in, but it is a long season, and, let's take care of business this week. And then that's going to set up the next week. And then we'll worry about that. That's been our philosophy all along, but we really got to live it now.
Looking back, Johnny, I guess Dabo Swinney underreacted and Kelly overreacted.
Yeah, well, right now one of those guys has a job, and we don't know from how much longer. Clemson's currently 3-5. They have Florida State coming to Death Valley tomorrow night, 3-6. This is a Clemson team that's on the descent the last handful of years. It's just funny to go back and listen to it now. Brian Kelly's so smug after that win, and now he got his pink slip, and he'll be watching Clemson, Florida State from his couch tomorrow night.
But you could say Kalen DeBoer reacted pretty appropriately.
This is who he is. He's a mild-mannered guy from South Dakota who's we affectionately sometimes call him, among the sports people, Kalen DeBoring. And that's a good thing. You don't want fireworks in this ever-volatile SEC. And this is a guy who's always going to be himself. He's never shown himself to get too high. He's never shown himself to get too low. And right now it's producing a lot of wins over ranked teams, not just at Alabama, but throughout his collegiate career.
Let's talk about another big news item that happened Tuesday, the first college football playoff rankings. Alabama's sitting pretty at the 4 seed. That's the good news. The bad news, I guess, is they're looking at a rematch with Georgia in round 2 if this holds true. That is if the Bulldogs get by Memphis. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M are 1, 2, 3. Other first-round matchups in Bama's bracket, the 8-9 Oregon and Texas Tech. Virginia, the 11 against Ole Miss, the 6. And then 10-seed Notre Dame and 7-seed BYU. Two of those first-round games, which are on campus, will be on ABC Friday, December 19th, primetime, Saturday, 10 a.m. So, if you're a Bama fan, would a rematch with Georgia be a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't think any rematch with a Kirby Smart coach football team is ever a good thing. Think of that second half in Athens this year. Alabama didn't score a point. There's not a better defensive coach still in the game than Kirby Smart, and if you give him some tape and you give him some time, I'd say 9 times out of 10, he's going to beat you. I know Georgia on paper isn't what they've been the last handful of years, but if you're an Alabama fan and you say, yeah, bring on Georgia again, be careful what you wish for.
Which of those first-round games is more intriguing to you?
Notre Dame going to BYU, Provo. BYU's got a big one tomorrow night. They play Texas Tech. However, Jeremiah Love's coming on as a real Heisman candidate at Notre Dame. And, of course, Notre Dame gets those 2 bad losses out of the way early. They look like they're going to roll the rest of the way. Could they go on the road to a place like Provo, which is as difficult to win as any spot in college football? I want to see the Irish and the Cougars.
Well, the weather tonight, looking kind of dicey. How about the weather for tomorrow's game? Evan Chickvera joins us now. And, Evan, what's it looking like for Bama LSU?
There's nothing dicey here, Speed. I mean, no diciness at all. This is wonderful. I would say it's a little toasty. 76 here in Tuscaloosa. A lot of places, again, getting to the upper 70s. Some spots in East Alabama with that cloud-covered drizzle stayed in the upper 60s, low 70s today, but it has been very quiet, and that is certainly a good thing for those high school games. We'll note there is a tornado watch that is basically along and north of the Tennessee River. It extends up into Tennessee, but we don't expect to have any turbulent weather from that here this evening. So this is our future view, and you're going to see that line that the tornado watch is for coming in here and basically dissolving. There's not going to be a whole lot of energy along this. There's no instability, and a lot of folks won't even get the rain. And after this, the story, well, it's going to be the cold temperatures. Not before the Bama-LSU game. Kickoff temperatures likely in the 70s. Yeah, it'll be warm and muggy, breezy, a passing shower, but all in all, things are looking pretty good. We'll have a check of your 7-day forecast coming up in the second half hour. Back to you guys.
Yeah, you're right, Evan. It's beautiful out here. Coming up on this special Athletes First Tailgate Tour edition of the EOG Wrap, Ty Simpson may win the Heisman, but how important is TK to this team? And up next, the voice of the Crimson Tide, Chris Stewart, joins us to talk about the Dynasty podcast, what the Final Four was like, and to talk about one of his favorite calls of the year.
Time to get down your fiddle, get down your bow. They hardly beat Saban, apparently can't beat DeBow. We're back after this on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Ooh, Chris Stewart's line last year had the booths breaking up, had all of us breaking up. If you think about it, last year's demolition of LSU in Death Valley was probably when the Brian Kelly's base of support was starting to crumble. Chris Stewart joining us now, the voice of the Crimson Tide. Now, I got a question. What about the black polo memo?
The black polo memo?
Yeah.
I thought you said black
Showed
vest.
us up.
Thought you said black vest. I'm sorry.
Well,
the
you look
Bryant
nice.
Society induction for the University of Alabama is tonight, and I will be the MC for that, or I'll wait tables. We'll see how it goes. Whatever
You're
they need.
busy. Well, let's talk about your role with this podcast. The Tour, the Dynasty, it's a Sinclair-owned podcast. What's been the experience like in working with Trent Richardson and A.J. McCarron?
I tell AJ every week, please don't get me fired from a job I've dreamed of my entire life. And so far, so good, but it's been borderline. No, they're great. I mean, these are guys that I literally covered and got to know when they were players. Really good people, fun to be around, and, you get a chance. I'm getting paid to hang out with friends for 3 hours every week, and it's a lot of fun. It really is.
It's also basketball season.
I've heard.
You won't be going to Madison Square Garden tomorrow, but you've been there. You've done that. That was your first one right out of the gate.
Yeah.
One thing you had not done, though, prior to a couple of years ago, was go to a Final Four. What was that experience like?
Unbelievable. I had never been to a Final Four. Had some opportunities, but I said, unless I'm working, I'm not going. And so thankful that my first experience to see that stage, and that's what the floor is, as you guys know, at the Final Four. The first time to go out to it and to walk into that massive venue was to work, or the day before I was going to work, and unbelievably special. And I don't think it'll be the last chance I get to do that, Lord willing, and in Nate we trust from a basketball standpoint.
Exactly.
Chris, since taking over football play-by-play duties, you've already had some memorable calls. We played one off the top. One of my favorite came from the Tennessee game just a week or two ago. Let's take a listen to that one.
Play action, they want to throw, they do. It's intercepted, picked off across the 20. Sabian Brown across midfield, one man to beat, hesitates, stays on his feet, scores, scores, scores. Ain't a flag to be found. Sabian Brown took it to the house, 100 yards, and the Tide adds to its lead. Oh, mercy.
Oh, mercy indeed. I'm getting goosebumps just listening to that, Chris. How much fun was to call that play?
Goosebumps, nausea, whichever one you want to go with. Look, I've been an Alabama fan since I was very small. I've told you guys this before. And to get a chance to do what I do anytime is special. But moments like that, you can't script. We have no plans for that as a broadcaster. You're just saying what you see.
Sure.
And you hope that you get it right. I don't think I did, but I was as enthusiastic as the Bama fans. And it was such a special play. It goes from being, oh, wow, they didn't score, to, oh, wow, looks like we could score, to, oh, wow, he's going to get hit. And it didn't happen. And then there's elation. Yeah. Again, the little dip to the inside is what made it happen for Sabian. So special and just glad. Let me tell you what, it was special in the moment. I was really pulling hard for Bama to win that game because wasn't anybody going to care about that play if we'd lost. Nobody be talking about it now, that's for sure.
The chemistry in the booth between you and Tyler is flawless.
We hide it well because we really don't like each other.
I was going to say, explain to fans, y'all had a working relationship for years back, right?
Well, I did the high school football games on your sister station, Channel 68, for 16, 17 years. And prior to that, I did them for a local cable channel, ACN Sports. And the first game of the week I did for them, they had this 9th grade massive freshman at quarterback for Pelham High School. Is Tyler Watts. I've literally known him since he started his high school career, followed him, covered him at Alabama, and have been friends with him for 20 years.
That's unreal.
I started to say as adults, but that's debatable for both of us, especially me. But since we've been of legal age, we'll call it, a dear friend, a great person, and really fortunate I get a chance to work with him, and now Corey Reamer on the sidelines as well.
How about Kalen DeBoer? What's he like to work with?
Phenomenal. Look, he is – I know what an incredible honor it was to host the TV show for one of the two greatest coaches in the history of college football. We're way too close to Bryant Drive and the other stuff for me to even get into that debate as to who is the best. That's other people's argument. I'll say one of the two best. I got a chance to host Coach Saban's TV show for a dozen years. Unbelievable honor. Kalen DeBoer is an unbelievably good football coach, great person. The work, and I've already done two things with him today. I've done the pregame interview with him already, and also did a luncheon with him, with he and his wife Nicole, actually, where they interacted with fans, and just special to be around. There's no pretense about him. I said this earlier after being around him just for 3 months, but mean it even more now. I've never seen an individual with a greater combination of humility and self-confidence. Yeah. You all know him. Yeah. He's not an arrogant person, but he's also not afraid of what is one of the most demanding jobs in all of sports. He's a perfect fit, and obviously we're winning, and just hope that continues to be the case and have no reason to believe it won't.
Well, Chris, thanks so much for your time. Good
My
luck
pleasure.
the rest of the way.
Good, thanks. I think the rolls are done. I need to go bring them out to table 4.
The hors d'oeuvres.
See you. Horse Duvers will be ready.
Still to come on this special edition of the EOG Wrap, the offensive MVP of this team, Ty Simpson. We'll talk about the man who could be the defensive MVP. And Johnny Condon will take us on a history lesson of the special rivalry between the Crimson Tide and Bayou Bengals. Welcome back to the EOG Wrap live from Two Dimes. We're here for the Athletes First Tailgate Tour, made possible by our sponsors, including ASAP, the Agency for Substance Abuse Prevention. Seyram Selassie joins us. And Seyram, you minister to individuals, schools, industries, and families. You can reach a lot of people at an event like this, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we're very excited to be here, Agency for Substance Abuse Prevention, and what we're here to really pass out and talk about today is our Ballers Against Bullets concept. Why are we dealing with gun violence? Well, gun violence right now is the #1 killer of Alabama youth, and oftentimes it's tied with substance misuse. So what we're trying to do is make people understand that that mentality of gun violence doesn't start to where we see it most prevalent, ages 16 to 23. It starts much earlier. So we've created comic books, right? Ballers Against Bullets comic books. So this is our football edition since we're at a football tailgate. We also have a basketball edition as well, but our hope is really to get into the minds of our youth early on in order to hopefully prevent more gun violence deaths.
Yeah. Seyram Selassie of ASAP, the Agency for Substance Abuse Prevention. Thank you so much for the work that you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know you're a big sports fan, so enjoy the weekend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The Athletes First Tailgate Tour rolls on till 7:30 here at Two Dimes. Coming up on the EOG, compelling evidence that Nick Saban will never coach again. And it's kind of weird. Interim head coaches will lead two of Bama's biggest rivals down the stretch. What's next for those schools?
Time for the EOG Wrap. End of game.
Friday, the fans start rolling into Tuscaloosa. Tonight, the Athletes First Tailgate Tour stops right here at Two Dimes on the legendary Strip in Tuscaloosa. Great to have you here with us at Two Dimes. We're going to be talking to the legendary Landon Collins moments from now. Meanwhile, Alabama and LSU have played every year for the past 61 years, but it's one of those rivalries that fell victim to the new 9-game conference schedule. Johnny Condon's out there right now with the Tailgaters. And Johnny, after next year, the Tide and Bayou Bengals will cease to be an annual event.
Yeah, that's right, Jeff. This is a rivalry that dates way back. These two teams have played every single season since the year 1964. The rivalry dates all the way back to the 1800s, in fact. 1895, however, this rivalry turned upside on its head in the year 2007. That's the year where former LSU national championship winning coach Nick Saban came to Tuscaloosa to help restore the pride to this proud program.
In his first game against his old team, Saban's Crimson Tide fell to the Bayou Bengals 41-34, but proved in only year one the Tide was capable of building a program of hanging with the very best in college football. 2008, Saban's first trip back to Tiger Stadium, a very unfriendly reunion that ended with a John Parker Wilson quarterback sneak in overtime. Tiger Stadium fell silent, and Alabama would go to 10-0. Let's jump to 2011, game of the century. Number 1 LSU, number 2 Alabama. A defensive struggle for the ages, which saw Les Miles' Tigers get the last laugh, 6-9 in overtime. They wouldn't have to wait long for the rubber match, as the two met in the BCS national title game that same year. And it would be the Crimson Tide who would enjoy not just revenge, but their 14th national title. The next time these two rivals met, it looked as if LSU and their top-flight defense would win the day, until a little screen pass to TJ Yeldon broke Bayou Bengals' hearts once again. 2014, another trip to the boot, another overtime win, with Reuben Foster and Blake Sims leading the way, with this pass to DeAndrew White sealing the deal. 2015, LSU came back to Tuscaloosa with supposedly the best running back in the world, Leonard Fournette. Turned out, he wasn't even the best running back on the field that night, as Derrick Henry won the game, and later that season, the Heisman Trophy. The rivalry was rather uncompetitive until 2019, when a former Buckeye rolled into town by the name Joe Burrow and sliced and diced the Bama defense to the tune of 46 points. And for the first time since 2011, the Tigers tasted victory in Tuscaloosa. Jump to 2022, and another Heisman quarterback jumped on the scene. as Jaden Daniels and Brian Kelly's successful two-point try sunk the Tide and their playoff chances. The last two meetings could best be described as Milroe magic, when in 2 games, Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe rushed for 8 touchdowns and 140 yards on the ground, punctuating 2 more wins for the Crimson Tide.
And Jeff, sure, Ty Simpson might be playing at a Heisman Trophy caliber level. However, LSU should thank their lucky stars that Jalen Milroe currently plays for the Seattle Seahawks and won't be suiting up tomorrow night. He terrorized them the last 2 years, Jeff.
All right, Johnny, thank you very much. And look who we have with us. We have Landon Collins, DB for the Alabama Crimson Tide 2012 to 2014. Also played several years in the NFL with the New York Giants. Great to have you here. Great to have you be here as part of the Dynasty podcast. You know, you're a New Orleans native.
Yes.
How special was this Alabama LSU game to you, and how fired up was Nick Saban to play in it?
Oh man, this game always been circled on my schedule every time we got the chance to play them. Nick Saban was always fired up because it's back at the home school. You know, team he coached, brought championships to, and now I got to be rivals against. It's tremendous to be back here and always being supportive of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
What gave this rivalry such juice?
It's a lot. Just the atmosphere, the SEC component of it, the make or break of the season between us two. Sometimes this game could be the make or break of our season if we're going to go to the championship or not. You know, so LSU's always been a force to reckon with.
You were 3-0 against them.
Yes.
Did it mean more to beat them over there? You got 2 wins over there.
Yes, it was way more to beat them over there. It was happy. I think I got pictures of me walking, being the last one on the field, celebrating with the crowd just because I won in the home state.
All right, well, Landon, we have to go back to the 2012 Under Armour All-American game and your commitment announcement. Remember, a New Orleans native, your mom April by your side, you're choosing between Bama and LSU.
It's a tough decision. I got both schools here, but I'm going to go with Roll Tide Roll.
Yeah, I don't think your mom was very happy.
She was not. She was not, man. We talk about that moment all the time. It's still being broadcasted throughout the signing days and the national, everybody making their announcements. So she talks every time it comes up. She said it must be that time again because she gets a lot of followers.
Yeah.
During that time. So I say, yep, it's about that time. Everybody's gonna come ask me that question, ask you that question. She's gonna be here this weekend also. So.
Oh man, mom's coming. I remember exactly where I was when that video aired and played. That was hilarious.
Yeah, Dari Noka. Dari Noka was the guy who was, now he's part of the SEC network. He was a very young Dari Noka back then. Landon Collins, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Have a good weekend. Thank you. Good luck to the Crimson Tide this weekend. And we will be right back with more of the EOG Wrap live from 2 Dimes coming up next. Welcome back to the EOG Wrap on the Athletes First Tailgate Tour at 2 Dimes on the legendary Tuscaloosa Strip. We have Carrie Davis of West Shore Home with us, one of our fine sponsors. Carrie, thank you. Tell us how West Shore Home makes your home better.
Well, we've got several different home improvement lines that we carry. We do windows, we do doors. We also do full home flooring, and we also do full bathroom remodels. A lot of that is done with our in-home consultations. It's a free estimate, and then we do also pride ourselves on that one-day install as well.
And to partner with the Tailgate Tour in Alabama football, how big of a win is that for West Shore?
It's huge for us, really. It's been a great partnership so far. It's very new, but it's taken off well in our area for sure.
Carrie, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you being here.
Appreciate it.
Coming up next on this special edition of the EOG Wrap Tailgate Tour at 2 Dimes, Louisiana turned upside down over this coaching upheaval. And it's a play that never gets hold to Alabama fans. 4th and 31. You could say it was the beginning of the end for Hugh Freeze at Auburn. We'll talk about the situation on the Plains.
I'm not going to be picking the next coach. But I can promise you, we're going to pick a coach, and we're going to make sure that that coach is successful, and we're going to make sure that he's compensated properly, and we're going to put metrics on it, because I'm tired of rewarding failure in this country.
Crazy happenings in Louisiana. Coach Brian Kelly fired October 26th by LSU, given a $54 million buyout. And then Governor Jeff Landry says athletic director Scott Woodward won't pick the next coach, so Woodward gets bounced. Can you imagine Alabama Governor Kay Ivey getting in the middle of the Alabama coaching situation? But there's got to be more fiscal responsibility here, right?
I say, Jeff, it's the best retirement strategy, be a fired head football coach in the SEC. But in all reality, they rather have to do one of two things. They need to make a better hire, obviously, or they have to have more patience. In the case of Hugh Freeze and Auburn, we're going to get to that. That ship had sailed. There's an argument to be made. I know everyone's beating up on Brian Kelly, and he did a lot of things poorly. He had a winning record. They were very good at home. They'd beaten Alabama a handful of times. You can make the argument this didn't have to be made right now. Obviously, the Bayou Bengal fans, they have a certain level of expectation, and that's national title. But I would make the argument maybe it was a little too soon. Same with James Franklin at Penn State.
Well, there's a meme making the rounds right now of Nick Saban while at LSU, how he handled a victory over a team they were supposed to beat, and how Brian Kelly handled a victory over someone his team was supposed to beat, but snapped at a reporter for being too critical of the team. Take a listen.
We beat these guys, but we won the game, but we didn't really defeat the team. All right, we didn't knock the snot out of them for 60 minutes like we're supposed to. All right, we didn't make the plays in the game like we're supposed to win the game. All right, so if you want to get happy about the results, I'm happy about the results. If you want to be happy about the process, I'm not. All right, and if we're going to do what we need to do as a football team to be as good as I want to be and as we want to be, then that process is not good enough. And if you think because you won, you don't have to change, you got another thing coming.
That football team just worked their tail off to get an SEC win, and you want to know what's wrong. You know what? You're spoiled. You're spoiled. This team is 17-1 at night.
Now, to be fair, Saban lit up the media one day in 2014 after the Tide barely beat Arkansas 14-13. He railed on the fans for not being happy they just won a game. But, you know, that's the difference in the two guys, those sound bites.
Absolutely. And a guy like Nick Saban, who had different places in his career before he finally found true success at LSU and then, of course, Alabama. And I look at Brian Kelly, a guy that had the Notre Dame job. I know in the South it's the Alabamas and the Georgias, but where I grew up in the Northeast, Notre Dame is the biggest job going. Yeah. And he essentially waved the white flag in due part because of what Nick Saban and Alabama did to him in 2020 in that national championship down in South Beach. He quit on Notre Dame. He said, there is no light at the end of this tunnel. I'm going to go to LSU because I think I'm going to have the resources and the roster to finally break through and win a national championship. And Jeff, there's a lot of people in South Bend right now, I can tell you, that are quite happy to watch him squirm and watch him be handed his pink slip.
And happy with Marcus Freeman. So who'll get the LSU job? Well, it won't be Nick Saban. Let's bring back Jamie Hale, who's out there with the Tailgaters right now. And Jamie, Shaq had me going when he said LSU was talking to Saban. I really thought for a hot minute he was going back to LSU.
Come on, Jeff. You know Nick Saban is enjoying retirement, spending more time with his family and grandkids, and he's also enjoying his gig on ESPN College Game Day. His co-workers recently talked about him getting back into coaching.
You couldn't pull Nick Saban off the game day desk. Coach, maybe this job. No. What about no. Guys, you got to stop bringing up Nick Saban for all these. He's not going anywhere. My man is enjoying his life. He told me for 50 years I've been in a hurry. I've been late to something for 50 years. Now he's got Mercedes-Benz dealerships and Ferrari dealerships. And
dude, me and him were out on the boat.
And he's on a boat. He's golfing.
We're on the boat. He's driving me around the lake in Georgia, a wooden boat. Literally, while this is happening, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, who would have ever thunk it? Here I am, cruising around the lake, me and Coach Saban. He got to chew in, I got to dip it. We're just rolling.
That's him.
Now, Jeff, the only reason Saban would get back into coaching is because he misses it. He clearly doesn't need the money, and I think he's having way too much fun doing this TV thing. Back to you.
Oh, I absolutely agree, Jamie. One guy who's out of coaching for the moment is Hugh Freeze, fired by Auburn Sunday.
Jeff, it was one of the worst offensive football games I have ever seen in my life, and that's no exaggeration. It was awful. This was Freeze leaving the field after his Tigers lost
10-3 to the Kentucky Wildcats. Defensive coordinator DJ Durkin takes over while Auburn searches for a coach for the third time since the year 2020. Monday, I asked Auburn Athletic Director John Cohen if Auburn's reputation of meddling boosters and trustees would be an issue when hiring the next coach.
That has not been my experience. And I think that that's one of those things that might have been created by other schools in the state of Alabama. That myth is not reality. We're in a tough spot right now. We're going to get to the other side of it. We're going to give our fans what they absolutely deserve.
Well, if you want to know where it all started falling apart for Hugh Freeze, go back to year one in 2023. The Iron Bowl, Jalen Milroe to Isaiah Bond to convert a 4th and 31. Freeze finished 0-2 in Iron Bowls and never made it to a third. So here's a list of 10 names I've seen floated. John Gruden, Jimbo Fisher, James Franklin. They can start right away. Arizona State's Kenny Dillingham, USF's Alex Golis, Georgia Tech's Brent Key, Tulane's John Summerall, former Troy Trojan, UNLV's Dan Mullen, former Mississippi State and Florida guy, Mizzou's Eli Drinkwitz, and Urban Meyer, of all people. Now, Johnny, Dillingham and Key made strong statements yesterday that they were staying put. Is there anyone on that list that would satisfy Auburn fans, number one, and would make Alabama fans stand up and take notice?
I'll tell you, the first name on your list, John Gruden. Everyone wanted to tote Hugh Freeze as beating Alabama twice. Well, John Gruden has a Super Bowl. He won a Vince Lombardi trophy when he was in Tampa Bay. It's a guy with infectious energy. He obviously knows how to coach on offense. Now, obviously the biggest bugaboo, he's never been a head coach at the collegiate level. But if you want Auburn to get back to a point where they have that swagger and that energy that makes that stadium such a difficult place to play in, John Gruden, I don't know if he can recruit, but I'd bet dollars to donuts that he could. He's a guy that brings energy everywhere he goes. He's working for Barstool Sports right now. He's already said he wants to get back into coaching. Sure, it's high risk, high reward, but go get Gruden.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see him in the college game. All right, coming up next, we'll make our picks for tomorrow's big games, and that includes the one here tomorrow night just up the street at Bryant-Denny Stadium, Alabama and LSU. Well, we're all three back together again, Johnny Condon, Jamie Hale, and me, to make our picks for this weekend. Thanks to Landon Collins.
Yes.
Tim Keenan's story got bumped. We're going to run that at 6 o'clock in the Sportscast. All right, let's play Pick'em, and we'll start with the comeback kids. 5th-ranked Georgia coming off that 24-20 win over Florida. Another comeback win for the Dogs. At the newest comeback kids on the block, Mississippi State down 14 in the fourth quarter at Arkansas, beat the Hogs 38-35 for their first SEC win since 2023. Georgia favored by 7.5. Who you got? Start with Jamie.
You ever been to a barbecue and there's that one gnat that just won't go away? You're trying to eat the same thing, gnat keeps coming, but eventually you get the one knockout strike to it. That's kind of like this Mississippi State-Georgia game every year. I'm still going with Georgia. In the end, they're going to get that knockout, but it will be a fight.
Now, I talked up Kirby Smart earlier in the show, and now I'm going to pick against him. Mississippi State was so close to beating Texas just a few weeks ago. This is the time that State gets it done. Jeff Lebby gets his signature victory. I'm going to take the upset. Mississippi State wins in Starkville.
The last time we saw the 3rd-ranked Texas A&M Aggies, they were clobbering this LSU bunch that's coming in here tomorrow. Marcel Reed and the Aggies, 8-0 for the first time since 1992. They're at number 22, Missouri. Now, Eli Drinkwitz has been squawking about the college football playoff rankings. To me, that's setting up bad karma. Aggies favored by 7.5. Who you got?
I went back and forth on this all week. I'm going to, because I want to be the safe way, I'm going to pick Texas A&M. Mizzou, though I swear I can see an upset using that 3rd-string quarterback in there. So, not anything can happen this season, but I'm going to go Aggies still, I guess.
Texas A&M is a testament to sometimes the big splash hire isn't the best hire. When they hired Mike Elko, it wasn't too much fanfare, and he's been fantastic. He's got that defense playing at a high-caliber level. And don't look now, if the season ended today, not only are they the top 4, they're going to Atlanta for the SEC championship game. I'm going to get the Aggies. I'm going to get them big against Missouri.
Auburn had a terrible loss against Kentucky, lost their coach. Have they totally lost their spirit? Ashton Daniels is going to start at quarterback. Meanwhile, Vandy has the edge at that position, you think? Diego Pavia is coming off a loss to Texas, but he threw for 365 yards and 3 touchdowns. Hard to keep that guy down for 60 minutes. So Vandy favored by 7.5 at home. Who you got?
I've got Vandy. Diego Pavia has an ego. It got hurt last week. I think they're going to come out. They're at home. They've got a Auburn team, that's kind of doesn't really know what they're doing on offense yet. I'm going to go with Vandy and Diego leading the offense to a touchdown, to a win.
If not now, when Auburn, as far as pride is concerned.
Yeah.
I think the interim coach bump is real. DJ Durkin has a lot of support inside that building. I've been down there the last few weeks. They love this guy. I think they're going to play hard for him. And they're finally going to beat Diego Pavia. He's been terrorizing him since he was at New Mexico State. Auburn gets an upset victory up in Music City.
All right, tomorrow night, ABC primetime, the LSU Tigers, just a shell of their preseason top 10 self, comes in with an interim head coach and absolutely nothing to lose. The Tide, everything's out there in front of them based on the work they did in September and October to offset that ugly loss in August. But the work isn't done.
We've had a good September and October, and we need to make sure that, we don't piss it away and, just be glad we had, a good season in the front end, right? We need to finish it out and make sure that we come ready to play and we separate ourselves, these next couple games.
Alabama favored by 11.5. Who you got?
I've got the Tide. Last week, as long as they got through South Carolina, I think they can get through anyone the rest of the season, to be honest. That was a trap game. I think the Tide are rolling. They're going to come in here Saturday, home game. This place is going to be electric, just like it was against Tennessee. I've got the Tide.
Whitweek's the best linebacker on the team. Not going to play. That's going to kill LSU. Alabama rolls it home.
All right, that'll do it for the EOG. Thanks to Two Dimes for hosting us, to Athletes First for their partnership with Sinclair that made it possible, and thanks to our sponsors ASAP and West Shore Home. Photographer Bill Castle, great job, and this fabulous engineering crew. Thank you also for watching. Good night, everybody.